This is Richard Wolff.
I know, I can't stay away from this guy.
Kyle asks about a famous story of a pencil and how it is produced. And it is attributed to Milton Friedman, among other writers.
No, it's from Leonard Read. Friedman talked about it, but he based it on Read's 1958 essay linked below. It's a very famous essay in economics, and it's embarrassing that Wolff doesn't know where the story comes from.
The video, which you can find, the story, tell a lovely, almost childlike story.
Childlike? It's incredibly complex and nuanced. But gotta get the poisoning the well fallacy in there when you don't have a rebuttal for it.
Whose major purpose is 3 parts. 1, to show that there are literally millions of people who collaborate in producing something simple like a pencil. The second point the story wants to make is that, and this is the ideological burden of the story, is that nobody, no single person directs it all.
Yep, ideological burden. Not the very thing that it definitively proved. Again, he's poisoning the well because he has no other response.
And finally, we are told, isn't this marvelous that you have this arrangement where no one is being told what to do, and we all, and the word is repeated many times, voluntarily engage in this activity. It's called the market that makes this happen, and the point and purpose of the story is to make us adulate, praise, and celebrate the market.
And now we're beyond poisoning the well into outright lying. There's no praise or adulation or anything demanded, just the plain, honest truth. Here's the last paragraph of Read's essay. The lesson I have to teach is this: leave all creative energies uninhibited. Merely organize society to act in harmony with this lesson. Let society's legal apparatus remove all obstacles the best it can. Permit these creative know-hows freely to flow. Have faith that free men and women will respond to the invisible hand. This faith will be confirmed. I, pencil, seemingly simple though I am, offer the miracle of my creation as testimony that this is a practical faith, as practical as the sun, the rain, a cedar tree, the good earth.
Well, my response is it's a lovely story. It's a wonderful utopian image of a market.
And this well is now well and truly poisoned. This is desperate, pathetic, and should let every rational person know how seriously they should take Richard Wolff. Not at all.
Is the market the only way for mass numbers of people doing very different things to end up with a remarkable product or series of products? And the obvious answer is, if you know anything about history, no.
Fine, name one exception.
In ancient Egypt, they built those pyramids that have lasted longer than almost anything else human beings have done.
And there were no market activities at all in play there? People have sat down to try to figure out how they could do it even with modern machinery and have difficulty. Not because it had to be done by ancient aliens or anything, but because the Egyptian economy was built in large part around this kind of construction. It was their religion, after all.
And millions of people participated, making the stones, cutting the stones from the quarries, moving them, assembling them, positioning them, decorating them, creating the architecture to make the vaults into... I could go on.
And if you've read the essay, you know the questions to ask next. What did they cut the stones with? How did they move them? What machinery did they use, and how was that machinery made? What kind of mortar did they use? It was some mix of limestone, gypsum, and other materials. How did they get those materials? How did they make the chisels and the pigments? And when you ask those questions, they just spawn more questions. Whatever tool was used to make chisels, how was that made? On and on and on. Wolf is such an arrogant narcissist that he thinks that he can somehow conceive of all this, while not realizing that he's completely failed to understand the point of the essay.
So you don't need a market to produce remarkable outcomes that many people participated in.
In what way was that not a market? Or are you one of those ignorant puss brains who've bought into the long-debunked myth that it was done with slave labor? This is the arrogant, elitist, and, dare I say, racist views of academics like Wolf. Primitive people like the ancient Egyptians were just such stupid morons that all they could do is stand around picking their noses until Pharaoh gave them orders. As opposed to them being a very complex society full of diverse people who came together in social endeavors, including markets. The only difference between us and the ancient Egyptians is that we know a little more than they do. In every other way, they were just like us. They had the same hopes and dreams, the same desires and goals. They started families and created businesses. They learned things and invented things and discovered things to no less of a degree than we do. In fact, we're only where we are because we stand on their shoulders.
The word voluntary. This is this wonderful sneaking in the word.
Nope. Every single part mentioned in the essay is people working voluntarily. Even if you could find some part of the process in the real world that was done through slavery, that part could be done more efficiently with voluntary labor. That's been shown time and time again.
As if they're all doing it voluntarily. As almost any wage earner will tell you, he or she does some or all of the work they do in exchange for wages on an anything but voluntary basis.
Oh, for the love of Mike, working a job is not slavery!
They have no other way to live in many cases. They either go out and sell their ability to work for a wage, or they have nothing, or next to nothing, or have to become a beggar.
How many times do people need to tell this guy how wrong he is? Start your own business. That's actually easy in a free market, not in a tightly regulated centralized market like what he advocates, or the current corporatist market he and his ilk have helped to bring about, but in a free market, it's that easy. Most people were self-employed back when the market in this country was a lot freer than it is today. And can we also put an end to this work or starve prat? I'm tired of rebutting it.
Yeah, there's no dictator telling everybody. But inside every enterprise involved in producing a pencil, the company that cuts the wood, the company that makes the paint, the company that produces the rubber, the company that assembles them into the pencil, here's what we got: a very powerful, unaccountable organizer, master, let's call him what he is. Employer.
See what I mean? Not only has Wolf never had a real job in his life, he's never run a business either. If he thinks that employers are in any way powerful and unaccountable, he's deluding himself as much as he is his unthinking followers. On the other hand, the government he worships so fervently is very much so powerful and unaccountable. So this is really confession through projection.
Who forces you to do things on the threat that if you don't do it how he wants it, when he wants it, where he wants it, he will take the job from you, and he will take your income.
It's not your job and your income. It's his. He doesn't owe it to you. He agrees to give it to you in exchange for your labor. If you don't hold up your end of the bargain, he's under no obligation to hold up his. Really, what does Wolf imagine should happen with someone who just lays around all day not doing anything? The employer should somehow pay him anyway?
Markets are one of the ways human beings have used to organize their economies. Through most of the history of the human race, markets were not the way it was done.
I have no idea where this moron gets his notions from. Humans have always had markets. There have even been international trade routes going back at least 80,000 years.
It's designed to celebrate capitalist markets and to pretend that they have reached the utopian wonderment that maybe Mr. Friedman had wished for.
Notice how at no point does he actually refute anything in the essay. All he does is levy insults at it and make bald assertions that are not supported by any facts, that he doesn't even try to back up. So thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, leave a comment, and go to donate.bogosity.tv to keep me doing what I do. And check out all the great content here, like this video selected just for you.